Are you tired of doing investment research on stock markets? Want to spend time on your hobbies or go out with your friends instead? Introducing iCapital, where you can get independent, objective, and comprehensive investment advice on the go. Available in English and Mandarin and can be accessed via app, website, and print copy. We provide thorough, first-hand research-based findings on listed companies, economies, and stock markets, and clear perspective of how markets interact and how they influence investments, as well as provide Malaysian and global stock recommendations, stock portfolios with outstanding performance to follow. Subscribe now to iCapital for stock news. From only 49 ringgit a year, start investing like a fund manager. Subscribe now at www.icapital.biz.
Hi, good morning everyone. I'm Teng Boo from Capital Dynamics again. Last week we took a break because of Merdeka Day, Malaysia's Independence Day. So we're back, and today our topic should be very interesting. It's where is China heading? As I talk now, we are having an event, a whole day event on just this topic, where China is heading. If in case you couldn't make it for whatever the reasons may be, so I'll just share with you what are the things that you probably would have missed by not attending the talk, right? So, for example, I'm saying my view is that China has already successfully reunited with Taiwan, or Taiwan is brought back to the mainland. And why is that so? I think if you are able to attend my talk, you would have I would have shared with you the reason. But the whole idea is like what Sun Tzu said many thousand of years ago: the supreme art of war is to defeat your enemy without having to fight. And that's what China is doing. I show you the reunification with China. It's already there. That's why I said, if you had attended my talk, then I will share with you pretty solid reasons why I have reached this conclusion. Then the other thing is, the other topic that I am dealing with is, America is always bullying China like forever. It's not just the last few years, it's like since 19th century, when America was an industrial power. What I'm showing you now is some of the sanctions and bans that the United States have imposed on China. In 1989, the Bush senior administration imposed arms embargo against China after the Tiananmen incident. Then 2014, the US Treasury Department sanctioned Sinotech Tar Land Carbon and Graphite Manufacturing Company. In 2018 August, this is the famous one, where under President Trump, America banned Huawei and ZTE from the equipment from being used by the US federal government, citing unjustifiable security concerns. Up to now, there's no evidence of this so-called security issues. And then, of course, America continued. They imposed sanctions and visa restrictions against senior officials, including the Politburo member, you can see. And then, in August 2020, the chief executive of Hong Kong, Carrie Lam at that time, and 10 other Hong Kong officials were sanctioned by the US Department of Treasury for undermining Hong Kong's autonomy. And in that November 2020, Donald Trump signed another executive order. It's a long one, but what it basically says is that the executive order prohibits all US investors, institutional and retail investors alike, from buying the shares of companies identified by the US Defense Department as Communist Chinese military companies. 2 months later, 44 Chinese companies were identified, and 5 of these companies were to be delisted from the New York Stock Exchange. I mean, America's nexus between the military and the economy and the industry in the US is very close. It's even worse than what you can identify as Communist China military companies. In December 2020, the Treasury Department imposed sanctions on 14 vice chairpersons of the National People's Congress of China for undermining Hong Kong's autonomy and so on and so on, and all the nonsense. Then in June 2022, the US State Commerce Department again put 5 Hong Kong companies on the entity list for providing support to Russia's military. October 2022, the US Department of Commerce implemented, this is the serious one, where US imposed restrictions on sales of advanced computing, any items that is linked to advanced computing and semiconductor manufacturing in China. This is where people like ASML, that manufactures the EUV lithography, cannot sell their equipment to China. And then NVIDIA also cannot sell the advanced chips to China. This is one of the big sanctions that America has imposed. And then January 2023, the US Treasury Department sanctioned Space City China for providing satellite imagery to the Wagner Group. 2023, again for Chinese sanction against Chinese companies for supply equipment to Iran, and which manufacture the drones used by Russia in Ukraine. And then in March 2023, the US Commerce Department added 29 additional Chinese companies to its entity list, including Inspur and Longsun. These are Chinese semiconductor companies, for acquiring American technology in the support of the People's Liberation Army. Oh gosh, I mean, when they buy equipment or whatever it is for the support of the US Air Force and so on and so forth, nobody sanctions. Then in September 2023, again for sanctions for assisting Iran and Russia. And then October 2023, the US Commerce Department added Pyron Technology and more threats to the US entity list. These are semiconductor related companies. Pyron Technology is up and coming Chinese semiconductor company that would have over time been a serious competitor to the US semiconductor companies. And the other thing is what you might have remembered, the Chinese balloon, where the Chinese balloon flew over America, and then the US Commerce Department, of course, they love to enlarge, they love to make the entity list as long as possible. So they added a few. And this is where in May 2024, imports from 26 Chinese textile companies were banned, linked to Xinjiang and so on and so forth. July 2024, individuals were accused of money laundering and then they were sanctioned. So, I've just given you a sample, right? If I were to go down every item that America sanctioned and banned against China, I'll be talking non-stop for the next one whole week. It'll be very, very long. So, the question that I am dealing with in my talk, in my one-day talk on 7 September is, will China be able to survive all these sanctions and restrictions from America? What will they do to the Chinese economy? The other point that I will share with participants in my talk today is, actually people don't realize that Chinese stocks have beaten US stocks. This is from up to the end of 2023, right, where the per annum returns of the MSCI China Index is 8.63% versus the S&P of 8.54. Now, if you update it up to, say, August 2024, the S&P has slightly outperformed the China Index. But this is over a long period. This is over a period of about 12, 14 years. So, my talk today, 7th of September, is to also share with you what Chinese stocks. Is it time for you to buy Chinese stocks? What Chinese stocks should you invest in? What China funds should you invest in? Because Chinese stocks have for a long time outperformed US stocks, or about equal in terms of its performance. Right? Would you have missed this? In fact, this would have been one of the very valuable topics that I would have presented to you in today's talk. The other key topic that you would have found to be extremely useful for your investment, for your business, for your understanding of what is happening in the world is I'll share with you my views, my opinion as to what type of leader Xi Jinping is. I'll even start from the time when he was a lot younger and to the time when he was sent to Fujian, Zhejiang, Shanghai, and then finally became Secretary General and President. So more importantly is what type of leader is he? And you'll be interested to know how Lee Kuan Yew, the former Prime Minister of Singapore, described Xi Jinping. Right? Now, these are the things that you would have obtained from attending my talk. So I'll just give you some, because the talk is one whole day. Obviously, I cannot present all the material. So I'll share with this very interesting insight as to the type of person, the type of leader Xi Jinping is. Now, he was appointed to the municipal, he was posted from Zhejiang to Shanghai, and in March 2007, that's when he assumed his position. So, after a couple of days after he got promoted, the members of the Standing Committee of the Shanghai MPC, the deputy mayors, and so on and so forth, as well as 58 departments, written extravagantly to show they resolutely support the correct decision of the party central, right, and the new provincial leadership with Xi Jinping at its head. And Shanghai's entire population was said to have passionately welcomed the new party secretary. What Xi Jinping did was, he responded by warning against formalism, this type of formalism, and any kind of flattering activities. The second trick was the Shanghai provincial authorities had arranged a 3-story British-style mansion measuring 800 square meters for Xi Jinping to live in. Now, the standard for provincial level officials, which Xi Jinping at that time was only at provincial level, the standard was only 250 square meters. For Politburo members, the standard was 300 square meters. So Xi Jinping quickly declined the offer of the mansion, suggesting that it should be used as a recuperating center for retired government officials or military patients. The third trick, the Shanghai municipal authorities supplied Xi Jinping with a Mercedes 400, that's a very big Mercedes, and a Lexus sedan, even though the party central instructions prescribe that all party and government officials must use Chinese-made vehicles unless you're receiving and transporting foreign guests. So there was a trap, which of course Xi Jinping did not fall into, because he was clean, he was providing a leadership that has got integrity. The next one, the fourth one, the Shanghai municipal authorities transferred a special chef from the Jinjiang Hotel. This is in Shanghai, right? It's a very established government hotel. Transferred a special chef from Jinjiang Hotel and a professor level expert on internal medicine, right? From what happened was, you are only as deputy ministers and Politburo members, you're allowed a healthcare doctor, but not at the professional level. So this one was also a kind of a trap, right? You cannot be equipped with a professional chef. Fifth, Xi Jinping's position required him at the time to make regular trips to Hangzhou, and the Shanghai municipal authorities arranged a special train, even though the central regulations prescribed that only the president of China, the vice president, the prime minister, the chair of the Politburo, and the vice chair of the Central Military Commission were entitled to use a special train. Only these people. So what Xi Jinping did was, he declined a special train. And all the other trappings that were laid or trying to trick and trap him, he declined all of them. Now that is in 2007. He has carried that good, clean governance with integrity all the way. In fact, if you go through his life history, he has always acted in the same manner based on the same principles. So, this is just a little bit of what Xi Jinping is like as a leader. So my talk is, where is China heading? And if you look at the program outline, you could see it is very comprehensive. It talks about economics, politics, environment, relationship with US, the population situation, and whether China is able to going to succeed in advanced manufacturing, in semiconductor, and why Xi Jinping made China's military a lot more powerful, a lot stronger. And then I also will talk about, I also clarify that the South China Sea is not, the situation with regard to South China Sea is not what you read in the Western media, right? And then, of course, I already explained earlier that China has really successfully brought the unification with Taiwan. And then we look at the China stock market, where it is now, and compare with the US stock market, and what we think would be the outlook for the Chinese stock market would be. And of course, you have to give stock tips, stock recommendations. So with that, I hope that in future we have a chance again for you to attend such an event, because as far as I know, there isn't any like that. And in our case, we did a lot of research. I had to do, just for this one day talk on China, I had to do my preparation, my reading, my research has taken me 4 or 5 months just on this. So I hope you have a good weekend ahead, and then we'll see you again next week. Bye bye.